Okay, so outside of showbiz, how was it like being under the Sigyon Reyna household, Rapa? I mean, what were your parents like? I mean, I know every time your mom invites us to a party, I look forward to it because she's an amazing manager of the kitchen. The food is always good.
Yeah.
So did you
Yeah.
grow up like that? Masarap ang pagkain parati, parati nakahanda.
No, masarap yung pagkain, but my dad is always super like, I don't know why my dad doesn't enjoy it when I eat a lot of food, right, ma? He's
Why?
always like, don't eat that much. You don't need that much. Tip-
Ganon.
Okay.
Because this boy naman piles everything on his plate.
I know, buti pa si Richard. Sabi mo kay Papa, buti pa si Richard. I see Tito Audie's posts. Tito Audie encourages his appetite.
But you're so thin. What is your father trying to prevent you from being?
No, he just doesn't like it when you get a lot of food and we don't finish it.
Oh, I see. Ah. But you have to finish it. But your mom is an amazing. Ikaw, Bibet, are you the one cooking or you just supervising? You
Every dish in the house, I do the first few ones, the first few tries, so that the cook can learn.
do you research? How come you're such a good cook?
No, what I do also to encourage the people in the kitchen, when I get a new recipe, I translate it into either Tagalog or Bisaya.
Oh, smart.
I didn't cook before I went to New York, Cody.
Really?
My mother was the one who was a great cook, but she had no. My mother had no measurements. She would just get
Mm,
salt in her hand and
mm,
make like this. Tansya, tansya.
mm.
So even when she was already in the last year of her life, I was never able to get her recipes. But so I got to New York, and this was before. This was in 1983, and wala pang internet. And then the activist community, we were cooking for a dinner, for a lunch for Pepe Jokno, and then they assigned me to cook pancit. So how do I cook pancit? I just did it from memory. Where
Mm.
I'd be studying and seeing my mom. And then I realized that all you need pala to cook is not even the skill, is to know what is good food and not. Although this other one, this boy, learned to do some easy cooking in New York when he was studying there, not to food because he found out now that girls consider you hot if you could cook.
With sexy with the apron. Diba?
With shirt, without a shirt on and then just an apron. Okay, speaking of which, um, who told Rafa about the birds and the bees when he was growing up?
I think it was Papa. Was it Papa? I think it was my dad.
The only reason why I bring that up, Ibet, about this guy's sex education, you know that I don't know what party was that, but you came to my house, Rafa, here in Dasma, okay? And there was a whole bunch of them there. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to make this public because
Yeah, yeah, I remember this.
it's
I
just too
remember.
funny, Bibet. So he's looking around my house. He's looking around my house in the garden and he says, Tito, I've been to this house. I've been to this house. I said, really? Yeah, did you ever rent that out? I said, yo, as a matter of fact, yes, I did. I said, "Yo, who did you rent it out to? Sabi ko, oh, some Indian family. Yeah, I had a classmate who went to IS and yeah, yeah, I had sex here in one of the rooms.
I was
Papa,
like, I was like, I really did. I feel like I did it here.
I didn't know what to say.
Tito Audi was like, what?
Wow. So whether
No,
you taught him or not, he knew. He knew.
no,
wait, I
one,
have another story about that. When I was
Go,
in high
go.
school, since we're
Oh.
on the topic,
okay.
when I was in high school, we had to return a book. We had to return a book. And in IS kasi pag hindi mo nabalik yung libro, sobrang mahal. Kasi you have to pay for that. And hindi lang yung price ng book, may ano may patong kasi IS owns the book. So, the last day of school, this is like 2008, 2009. I was like, "Hey, Ma, I'm graduation is tonight na eh. Pakihanap, can you find itong book na to? It's called Translations by Seamus Heaney. I'll never forget that book. Can you look for it sa mga drawers ko, find it there if it's there." So my mom is going through the drawers. And then she opens one of the drawers. She finds puro condoms. She
Puro
finds
ano?
all my condoms. Puro condoms
Oh my God.
on one of my drawers. So I come home after graduation rehearsal, di ba? Uwi muna, ligo, tas balik sa school for graduation. Pag uwi ko, my dad calls me into the intercom. Rafa, come to my room. So I go down. Tapos pagpasok ko ng room ng dad ko, I look at my mom in her computer. She's like this. Nakaganito siya, Tito Odds. She's like that. So I go into my room and then my dad goes, um, uh, are you doing it na? And then I'm like, huh? What? Are you doing it na kasi si found condoms in the room? And then so he gives me this talk before graduation. He goes, yeah, just be safe, make sure you're always protected. Yeah, just make sure you're okay and you're safe. And then I'm like, okay. Well, technically, since ano pa naman, I was 16, I was wearing condoms. And then he was like, you were doing it since you were 16. So it was a really awkward conversation. And then after, we're on the way to school for graduation. And then we're in the car, and then everything's quiet. And I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm like, I can't believe today, my graduation day, is the day that they found out about my activities. Everything's quiet. And then my tita, she goes to church, she's super conservative, my mom's sister. Really quiet, and my tita goes, Rafa, sabi ng mama mo nagsisex ka na daw. With all this judgment in her voice. That was graduation day. That was 18 years old.
Oh, so you're pretty liberal then, Bibeth. Letting him, once you found out, okay na, ganun. Wag lang siya wag lang siya makabuntis.
Well, she had a bet with all of her friends that I would have a kid by the time I was 25. So every day before
no,
25.
No. They were betting. My friends were betting with me that you'd get someone pregnant before.
So he's doing something right. He's doing something right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think as what they say, kasi diba, boys tend to follow their fathers in certain aspects. Carlitos is a faithful husband. Si Rafa naman, when he has a girlfriend, no, walang extracurricular activity.
Right, Yana. Yana can prove this.
Wow. This is recorded.
But I'm also like my dad. Magaling kami pumili ng partner.
Oh,
diba?
Yeah.
Like my mom froze.
Yeah, your mom froze. I can't. I think she turned around and cried again. Well, while she's not here and composing herself, yeah, I mean, do you look when you're looking for what do you look for in a girl? Do you look for qualities your mom has?
For me, I think the most important one, which is what I found and do see in Yana, is I need you to be extremely. I like it when you're extremely opinionated and that you can, because I grew up in a family with like really strong opinionated women,
Right.
to everybody, and I like it when sometimes when I have a hard time deciding things, I can look to you and I can ask you, what's your opinion? What's your decision here?
Yeah.
And even though sometimes like it's your because I'm also very opinionated and headstrong, even though sometimes we can butt heads about it, especially even for example with Yana, I always tell her pagbati na kami that I don't want to ever change that about you. I like that you can be as opinionated and we can fight as hard as we can about things because you are opinionated, but that's something I do like in my partner. So yeah, that's one thing. I also really like that she sings really well. I think that's
Naman, my
that
God.
made me fall
Tsaka,
in love.
sobrang ganda naman ng girlfriend mo. Naku, kung tumingin ka pa sa iba, di ba?
Yes. Right, Yana?
Wait, well, so I mean, do you see that in your parents? I mean, is that the dynamic between your parents? I know your father is fairly strong, then very opinionated, but do you see how your mom balance? She's also a strong character. You see how she balances it. Do you learn from the dynamic, your parents' dynamic, how you manage a relationship?
Yeah. I mean, even with my mom, it's funny because from the outside, when people joke around, they think it is a solid dynamic between the two. It's very similar to Yana and I, where, for example, with them from the outside, people crack jokes that I see Beth wears the pants in the relationship, but they don't know behind the scenes. Like my mom can also be very like attentive to his needs as a man. Like she takes care of him. She makes him food. She always makes sure that he's okay. And my dad is also the same. Like behind the scenes, he makes sure that she's okay. Provides for her. buys everything for her. No, wow, I'm kidding. Look at her face.
Everything,
I'm kidding.
everything talaga.
I'm kidding. No, but even though on the outside they have this dynamic that she's like strong personality and he's shy and introverted. Privately they have their own dynamic that's also the opposite of that. And it's the same with Yana and myself. Whereas, on the outside, everybody thinks Yana is like the serious one and I'm the crazy one. And Yana is super like prim and proper. But behind the scenes, we're actually the opposite. Yana is actually way more casual and I'm like way more intense. Like the evening before a show, let's say Saturday or Friday, I won't even go out for drinks, Tito Odds. Like I just want to go home and get my rest because I don't like the feeling of being even a little tired before a show. And
Mm.
I'm super strict about that. And even if I do go out for drinks, I'll have one or two. I'll never get like pretty drunk before a show. But Yana's more casual about that. She'll be like, yeah, let's have drinks, and then tomorrow she'll do the show. Mga ganon. Like on the outside, people think I'm the one who's like, let's have fun. Pero I'm the one who's more like uptight about. May ano bukas, matulog na ako. Like I'm stricter about that than Yana is. So we also have like that.
I didn't
Parang,
know that about you. Yeah, yeah. What we see is different, You're
yeah, people think that I'm like loosey goosey, but I'm very
yeah.
intense about like I have to know
Yeah.
my things and I'm I'm perfectionist about it.
Speaking
But
of
I don't show that side. I don't show that side.
speaking of things that you don't the public doesn't really know about you, okay? Tell us something we don't know about your mom.
My mom, what they don't know about my mom.
Careful.
Well, dami. There's so many. There's well, one of my favorite stories is the Mongo story, and
Ano yun? Ano yun?
my sister and I were arguing one time. My mom does this thing where when my sister and I are arguing, um, and when we argue, it's pretty crazy because we're crazy. But one time, my sister and I were fighting. Well, you know what? You did this, and then she's like, "No, you're always like this." Nah, nah, nah." My mom was like, "Stop it, tama na." And then we're still fighting. Tama na, you did this. She goes, "I said tama na." She gets the bowl of mongo in the table. Binuhusan niya yung sarili niya. So the bowl of mongo is on her head. Tumutulo yung mongo ganito. And then she's crying. She goes, sabi ko sa'yo, tama na, huwag na kayo mag-away. And then tumutulo yung mongo on her face like this. And I was like, oh
Oh
my
my
God,
god,
this is serious?
this is a
And then
movie.
even the person who cuts our hair, si Celeste Viera, one time, she was cutting, this is a few years ago, she was cutting my hair and then she was making chismes with me. Alam mo, pag nag-aaway yung nanay at kapatid mo, grabe, yung mom mo, kinukwento niya sa akin isang beses na nag-aaway daw sila isang beses. Yung sister mo daw, dahil galit na galit siya, tumalon siya sa swimming pool. Tapos yung mami mo daw, sumunod siya sa swimming pool dahil nag-aaway sila. Silang dalawa na sa swimming pool. Oh my gosh. And I'm there getting my hair cut and I'm like, paano alam ni Ate Celeste yung stories nila na nag-aaway kayo? And I'm like, grabe naman to. Nagsiswimming pa kayong dalawa.
He's making that up.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Ano pa? Meron pa ba? Meron ba other things you can spill on your mom?
So many. Like, for example, when we're eating dinner and there's food that she prepares, because as you know, she likes to have a lot of food for us. She will, if I don't eat the food that she prepares, like let's say dilis or something, or kinilaw. If I'm not in the mood for kinilaw, Rafa, eat that. And then I'm like, no, I'm okay. I don't feel like having kinilaw. Ah, sige, ayaw mo na kinilaw, papamigay ko na. Tatapon ko na to. Tatapon ko na yung kinilaw. I'm like, why do you do that? Pwede ko naman kainin mamaya eh. Diba?
Oh, let's turn the tables around, Bibet. What don't we know about Rafa that only you know?
No, but ako naman, I get asked by people, the way Rafa ribs you.
Oh.
Some of our friends, they say, find it bordering on already being rude to his mom. Why do you let him get away with it? Because ako naman, in fairness to this jerk, remember na how he suddenly, even at the age of 6, how he wanted to take care of his Tita Luna, di ba? When I was, naku Rafa, don't be embarrassed because I'm going to cry. When I was diagnosed with cancer and we were talking to the oncologist and discussing my options for chemotherapy. Rafa, what year were you in? Second year? High school?
Grade 6, grade 7. Mga ganun.
He suddenly said, Mama, you're going to get well. I said, what makes you think so? Then he said, because the word mother is embedded in chemotherapy, it's actually chemotherapy.
Oh.
So, when he said that, I felt so, I felt that things were going to turn out well. He has moments like that. Pero moments lang. But he can be, and then when we're abroad, and then he sees me walking, and then I don't even have to go tell him, Rafa, carry naman my bag. He automatically gets my bag from me and carries it. Kasi he's seen his papa carry my bag because his papa in turn saw his dad, Attorney Sigyon Reyna, carry the bag of Armida.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
my theory is also my mom likes to act old when we travel so that we carry her bag. She's always like, artista eh. So,
So
Pero
why don't
mahilig kayo mag-travel, 'di ba? I've seen so many wonderful photos of you traveling.
yeah, we like to go to New York usually for our long December breaks because it's the only time where we all have a long break. And we also, at one point, most of us have lived there
Oh, because you
for
have a nice
school
condominium
or.
there, that's why.
No, but Rafa kasi when he was young, he used to sleepwalk.
Okay.
Really sleepwalk. His eyes
Where?
would be open. Yeah, he would go out to the garden and walk around there with his eyes open.
And
What?
Pete.
Yeah. So when we went out and took the cruise in 1998, by yun, Raf, 1999, Carlitos was so nervous because he'd be, what if he sleepwalk on the boat, no? On the ship.
Yeah,
So what
yeah.
Carlitos did was he brought in some rope and tied it to his waist and tied it to Rafa para if Rafa would sleepwalk, he would also jerk the rope and wake up his dad.
Okay.
And then so one day, one morning, Carlito said, Rafa, you bit me last night. And then this was before he got into braces, no? Sabi ni Rafa, no, I did not. Rafa, you bit me. And then sabi ni Rafa, I did not. So Carlitos pulled out his shirt and then the teeth marks are still there. Measured it against his teeth and it was an exact fit. And sabi ni Carlitos, you see,
Oh,
you really did bite me.
I don't remember that at that
right.
age, but yeah, I would. I guess I would.
Oh, that's something we don't know. I guess Yana has to watch out for that when you start living together. Wait,
But see,
what is the right age to marry for you, Beth? Kailan mo papakawalan si Rapa na pwede mo na ibigay, pamigay?
the decision is for him to make. Basta I'm just gonna tell Yana na find the receivers. She can't return him to me anymore.
I love your
But
one-liners. But do you come up with tagal ko nang sinasabi sa inyong dalawa, whenever one of you posts on Facebook about the other, I love when Rapa refers to you as Bibeth. I just love that. What
Yeah.
do you do? I mean, what? You just wake up one day, Rapa, and you just decide you're gonna take a jab at your mom? Ganun ba yun? Do you love
Because
needling each other?
I'm always on her Facebook, Tito Odds. I'll always wake up and then I see these posts with 150 likes. And you know what? She isn't even sensitive enough to realize that who she works with are also people who I may work with too. So she'll always be like, alam mo, itong anak ko, napakaganda na. And then I'm always like, nilalaglag na naman ako ng nanay ko sa Facebook. Ay, naku, sus Maria Josep. So I have to defend myself on my Facebook. And then she'll be like, why did you post that on your Facebook? Then I'll be like, oh, is it our Facebook? It's my Facebook.
yeah, but
It's my Facebook.
Rafa, remember the occasions that I left my Facebook open and then you sit on my computer and key in certain things like my son is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I love it.
Karma. Karma mo
And
yun.
then all in the beginning, people used to think that I would really post post things like that, and some of them would be so concerned. Would be bet don't praise naman your son so much because what about your daughter? Okay, I didn't post that. Nakialaman niya ang Facebook ko. He would pretend to be me and praise him. My son is talented. Mga ganyan.
Oh my God. You guys should be on TikTok. Rafa, I challenge you. Gumawa ka ng TikTok. It's just about you and your mom. Yung iniinis mo lang yung nanay mo buong araw, that's gonna
Do
be
you
a
have a
big hit.
TikTok, Tito Odds? Right
Ah?
now? Do you have a TikTok?
I do, but I'm not, hindi
I'm
ako,
scared of
young
making
eh.
a TikTok because of my
No, I swear
data.
to you, do a Rafa Bibeth TikTok. I swear to you. And you just do, and you know what it is? Magbalikan lang kayo. I mean, one day you play the prank, one day she plays the prank, and it just goes back and forth, and we don't know who to side with. That's gonna be a hit. You're gonna have millions of followers. I swear to you. Wala nang comic book. Remember, I used to tease you na dapat mag-comic book kayo. TikTok.
And
Okay.
I don't know if nagkaroon ng effect yung fact that he was left in the hospital for a month, but you could see already the signs that he was just getting from a serious young boy who just used to watch people, he just suddenly became strange. You know, when he was about 4 and then he wouldn't finish his food, I tell him, you don't know, Rafa, outside this very gate, there is a boy your age who has nothing to eat. So what does he do? He stands up. He gets his plate. So I tell him, where are you going? I'm going to give it to the boy outside the gate.
Oo nga naman. You know
Yeah.
what, Bibet, I love so much about you is your memory for details. I guess because you're a writer, but can you just, I just really want to ask this of you. But when you tell stories, I guess because you're a writer, but sometimes it's just off the cuff, and yet it is so vivid and so well thought.
That's why
Kasi
Rafa.
may revision. May mga revision yung kwento.
Oh
Nire-revise yung script.
no,
Ito po, revise yung script, sequence 2.4. Ito po yung dagdag.
No, Rafa insists kasi na when I tell daw a story and then it just shows that I'm only pretending to be old. Kasi daw I go daw, I cannot put my coat on. I cannot put on my coat. You know, Rafa, when you were 2 years old, you did this. How can you not put your coat on and then remember that when I was 2, I did that?
Yes, I agree. I agree. You have such vivid recollections of these stories. Tapos, pag ano, pakitulong naman yung stapler ko, hindi ko makuha. Yung bag ko pakibuhat. Pakipunta sa ano, pag inuutosan mo ako, kailangan mo ng help. Pero pag nagkukwento ka, naalala mo lahat. Grabe naman.
He hates it. Rafa hates it because sometimes I put activist material in their rooms for them to read. Because I want them to read what's being into politically this and then. And then there was one book that I put in his room. I put tape kasi so that I would know kung binasa niya na. Pag wala na yung tape, ibig sabihin, he discovered the tape. You know what he tells me? You know what, Mama? If you were a pusher, there would be no addicts.
Ibang klase kayong dalawa. My God. One thing for sure, minana niya ang sense of humor mo, Bibeth.
No, he's that. He
Really?
only got my timing. Carlitos can be really funny.
Really?
Yeah. He only got my timing and my charm. But what he says, talaga yung bira niya, yung when to make a thrust, that's his dad.
Really?
Di ba, Rafa?
Mhm.
Oh, that's another show. That's another show.
But that's Father's Day mo,
Oo.
Rafa and Carlitos, that's still another.
Or
I mean,
you and Sputnik, the two of you and Carlitos
this is
for
Rafa
Valentine's.
telling his dad stuff like, no, Papa, kasi you just envy me because you realize that I am the real alpha male in this house. Because, Papa, you only do the arts. I do the arts. And I do sports. I'm alpha male. You're not. Ganyan.
How does Sputnik take his humor? I mean, kayo, nagbabatuhan kayong pareho eh. Pag ginanon mo yung tatay mo, Rafa, how does the Sputnik, how does your dad react?
He just makes me dead, ma. Just makes me dead, ma.
But also, I hate it when I'm the cynosure of the jokes because Carlitos laughs along with them. All the three of them, they laugh at me because I'm doing.
I love it. I love it. This can just go on for hours, but so I guess we'll have to wrap up and we'll have to do a part 2. But any message, Mother's Day. Go ahead.
Nakwento mo na ba yung because Rafa was so conscious na hindi siya magaling mag-Tagalog because ng IS, nag-aaral sa So he was
Okay.
trying to learn Tagalog here. And then, charot, Rafa, nakwento mo yun. That's a real, I really like that
Go,
story.
go. Sige.
No, when I was first on a film set dito, galing US, medyo kinakalawang pa yung Tagalog ko. And I kept hearing this makeup artist on set refer to people and say, charot. Charot, di ba? Which basically means, joke lang. Pero at the time, di ko naintindihan. Akala ko yung pangalan ng makeup artist, Charot. So nung it was time for me to make pa-makeup, sabi ko sa makeup artist, Charot, pwede lagyan mo ako ng makeup. Pwede magpa-makeup, Charot. Yung tingin sa akin ng makeup artist, ano ba tong loko-lokong to?
O bigyan
Yun
mo nga
lang.
ng magandang bigyan mo ng magandang mensahe ang nanay mo in Tagalog for Mother's Day. In Tagalog.
Aking magandang ina, taus-puso ako nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng tama ba yun? Sa lahat ng na ibahagi mo sa aking buhay. Oo, tama ba yun? Thank you for being there. I love you. And thank you for your support. And I'd like to give this moment to also say thank you to Mama Feli Laurel, who's in heaven now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and we miss her very much. And yeah,
Yes.
so yun.
Yeah.
She's the reason why I appreciate being stuck at home right now with my mom, because her loss and how much pain Yana's going through has made me realize how thankful I am to still have my mom around. So yun.
Oh my gosh, you just got me teared up. This is supposed to be a comedy show. Thank you for that. That's so touching. Bibeth, you want to say anything before we go?
I'm crying na eh.
Oh, nga eh. But it's good to cry. Talk through tears.
Because COVID has been really rough on the family.
Yes.
I lost my brother,
Yes.
and then Yana lost her mom, which is why when Rafa gets jobs, he's very strict about the RT-PCR swab test. Very strict about um, making sure na he gets a solo room. And he wants it clear na it's not because he's maarte.
Mm.
He said, kasi mama, I'm thinking of you because of my comorbidities. I have asthma, I have diabetes, I have hypertension, I have my cancer issues. So, may mga ganon. So, I tell you, Odi, even if our children are so annoying, can be the most annoying on earth. But really, if we bring them up correctly, the love goes back to you.
And that you have. Really. You're an awesome mother, Bibeth. You really are.
Rafa say yes naman.
Yes, yes.
And with that, happy Mother's Day, everybody. And
Happy
thank
Mother's
you
Day.
guys for joining me. I love you both dearly.
Love you too, Tita Ods. Be safe.
Love you all.
Thanks.
See you guys.